الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم جميعا بهذه الصبوحة ونتمنى التوفيق والنجاح والسداد للجميع. Welcome everybody. Today we have the discussion of the dissertation of Mr. Bekim, emini, and inshallah ta'ala we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the support that we need for our success in this life and the hereafter. We'll try to do our session today inshallah ta'ala with not too much time or detail. So we will start inshallah ta'ala with bekim, and you have 15 minutes maximum, 10 to 15 minutes to present your dissertation. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Dr. And I'd like also to thank all other professors who are present here. We'll start by introducing the topic, first of all. So, as you can see it on the screen there, the title of my MA thesis is about my country. So it's about high school teachers and students. So the title is Kosovo High School EFL Teachers and Students' Attitudes towards Information Communication Technologies in EFL Classroom. Here is just an outline of the study. So what we have here is the statement of the problem and why the study is significant. We'll mention also the objectives of the study, research questions, and hypotheses. There is also a review of the literature and the methodology as well in the study. And finally we have the fourth chapter actually includes the the results and the discussion of the topic in question. Now we'll move further with the statement of the problem. So the importance of studying teachers' attitudes and also the students' attitudes. So one of the researchers is mentioned here, Alberini, which stipulates that studying teachers' attitudes is very important, especially in those developing countries. So Kosovo, being one of them, as a developing country, not a developed one. A brief definition of attitudes would be that attitudes indicate either favorable or unfavorable feelings towards either groups, ideas, or objects. And this study focuses on the objects, respectively. It's the information communication technologies that are being nowadays used in teaching and learning environments all over the world. As mentioned previously, the study is significant because no other studies have been conducted, especially in my country. Of course, it is obvious that other researchers have conducted similar studies in their countries, but not in my country. So that's why it's significant. And also, measurement of attitudes is important because it did show the acceptance or refusal of either teachers or students in Kosovo. So the investigation of both teachers' attitudes and students' attitudes towards technology was important, as it enabled a holistic presentation of the current state of affairs with regards to acceptance or refusal of technology in the classroom. And we should understand that, youngsters, especially those at high school, are a generation that grew up alongside technology developments. So they have iPhones and mobile phones and all these. And also certain procedures are mentioned as well to be taken by the authorities, specifically the Ministry of Education, that should do something in this regard. Objectives of the study were to find out the attitudes of Kosovo High School EFL teachers towards information communication technologies in the classroom. And the second one was, or the second objective was to find out the attitudes of Kosovo High School EFL students towards ICT in the classroom. And these were the research questions that were posed. The first one is, as you can see on the screen, so the question was posed to the teachers and students. So what are the attitudes of Kosovo high school EFL teachers towards information communication technologies in the classroom? And the second one, what are the attitudes of Kosovo high school EFL students towards information communication technologies? And the hypotheses, as you can see, so I have hypothesized that Kosovo high school EFL teachers have positive attitudes towards ICT in the EFL classroom, as well as students. And it turned out that both of them had positive attitudes towards technology in the EFL classroom. Basically, what's the object of the study was also measuring the attitudes. So as you can see there, a brief definition of attitudes is this: they are hypothetical constructs, and this is not something that I'm saying, but there are researchers who say this, like Schwartz, 2001, towards so they indicate feelings towards either groups or ideas. But this study specifically focuses on the objects. As I said previously, it's the technologies that are used in teaching and learning, and that's what I mean by that. By the specific attitude domains that have been taken into account in this study. And these domains are, the first one is affective domain. There were 5 questions that were posed to the students about, specifically, pertaining to the affective domain of the attitudes. And then another 5 about the cognitive domain. And the last one, but not the least, was the behavior domain, that studies the behavior, which in fact refers to the either teachers or students' behavior towards technology. Whether they would behave positively towards them, or they would go one step back towards using them in their teaching and learning environments. Here are some very brief advantages of using technology, and also there are, of course, disadvantages. And it has been proven in the past that there were advantages, because once they were introduced in the classroom, the students were keen on using technology, because one of the first things they do at home, they play games, right? So they use technology, they already use them in their iPads or iPhones or computers. So they have been successful also in classroom. But also there are disadvantages, like technical malfunctioning of different different pieces of technology. So once they malfunction, either teachers or students may not be able to repair them. So they would need maintenance right away. These would be some of the technologies that would be, or in fact this is something that pieces of technologies enable. So one of these is telecollaboration, then voice recording tools, and also mobile-assisted language learning or more. The methodology of the study, as you can see, the main parts in the methodology. So the first one is the instrument. I believe I already mentioned that I've used a questionnaire, or actually it was a teacher's questionnaire, English teachers questionnaire and the students questionnaire. The subjects, like I said, specifically with a number. Of course, the number changed as I discussed all these issues with my thesis advisor, Dr. Muhammad. So we had to discuss the specific number of participants in the study. So there were like 14 EFL high school teachers and 28 students. Another element of the methodology is also the analysis. So SPSS was used to analyze the results of the questionnaire. And the results are presented in percentage. So percentages, in fact, of that specifically show teachers or students' agreement or their disagreement with specific statements that were in the questionnaire. So the methodology is this is a survey research, in fact, and what we had was the research variable. There was you can refer to the copies that have been hard copies provided to you. You have one dependent variable only. There are no independent variables. And also we have the study design, sampling. Of course, as a sample was the capital city of my country, Pristina, was used as a sample. Having the biggest number of teachers and students and high school students, so that they would somehow represent. But this does not necessarily mean that the study can be generalized to the entire population. So we already mentioned the instrument we used, and then data collection procedures. Both data collection procedures were used. I did first of all, pilot this specific questionnaire online with some teachers and students, and later on I went, to conduct it on site at specific schools in the capital. So either teachers and students were present there, when they had to fill out the specific questionnaires and questions they had to, in fact, the statements they had to, to respond to. Data analysis, I mentioned the SPSS. So as I said, it's the dependent variable. So that is the attitudes in this case. And one may, pose the question, what would be the difference between, this dependent, independent. But honestly, I wouldn't go much into detail. I would just simply say that, there are, this one is a dependent variable, as it depends on other factors. And it, attitudes, I've also mentioned and emphasized the fact that attitudes change over time. And a similar dependent variable would be also test scores, test scores of students. So they change over time, depending on the students, whether they slept well or maybe they ate well. So it changes the scores of, of the study. So that's a dependent variable. It's dependent on several factors. So, and there are no independent variables like age or something that just, they don't change. So this was a cross-sectional study, and non-probability or non-random sampling was used. So we have also, in fact, purposive sampling, as it is otherwise called, has been useful in attitude measurement in the past. So that's why, based on what the researchers of Ari et al. 2010, page 156.
Can you go to the results, please?
Yes.
Go direct to this.
All right. So we have the schools that we conducted the study, and the results. So this is the way how the researcher interprets results in terms of percentages. So how many teachers and students showed the specific percentage of agreement or disagreement with the statements that were posed. So how many agreed with the statements that were posed on the affective domain, and how many of them you have the the percentage of the number of teachers and students that either agreed or disagreed, at the cognitive domain, and also the last was behavioral domain. So in general, the results were that Kosovo high school EFL teachers and students had positive attitudes towards information communication technologies in EFL classroom. And this is, at last I would like just to show a map that somehow justifies the use of, or the sampling that I've used in this study. So you can see this with the map of my country, and I believe the audience recognizes this map. So it's Kosovo, and you can see the dark green color shows Pristina, that is the capital that has the highest number of and it's students and teachers. And also down there you can see also the circle that shows the number of students, and well, it does show the difference in terms of gender, and that's why I used two students were the ones who conducted the study. So there were two students for each school who participated in the study, and we had one male, one female student, just because of the statistics. Our country's statistics show that their number is equal there. So I wanted to have an overall representation of all genders in this study. And in the end, I'd like to really thank first of all, I'd like to thank my thesis advisor, Dr. Mohammed Saeed, for his tremendous efforts and for his continuous support until this very moment with his advice, prompt advice. Sometimes even it was like in 2 minutes or maybe less. I got the prompt response from Dr. Saeed. So thank you so much, Dr. And I'd also want to thank also others, committee members here present, Dr. Abdullahi, and also Dr. Abdullahi Mbaye, and Dr. Arafat for being here, and for reading this thesis, and of course special thanks to Dr. Ahmed Al-Jailan, also for his contribution and continuous support until now. And in the end, I'd like also to thank University of Qasim and the dean and the deanship for providing and offering this scholarship, and not only this one, but also tens and hundreds of scholarships to foreign students, including the students from my country and neighboring countries who are present here today. So thank you again for everything. Barakallahu feek. Do you have any questions?
Okay, we'll leave the questions later on. Thank you, bekim. And now we move to Dr. Arafat for his analysis of this presentation.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. This is Dr. Arafat Hamouda, Assistant Professor of the English Department. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Ahmed Al-Jailan, the coordinator of the Graduate Studies Committee, for his great effort and priceless support to our MA students. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Mohammed Saeed, the supervisor of the thesis, for inviting me to be a member of this defense committee. Also, I would like to thank our MA student, Bekim, for his presentation. In fact, Mr. Bekim chooses a very interesting topic.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
في طالبات بيحضرون المناقشة.
احنا
خلاص صوتكم
بدأنا
صوتكم
بمناقشة.
واضح. زين.
طيب خلاص خلينا
شكرا.